You guys don't need to worry about me getting revenge from Diddy. I've got 3 moves that make sure he'll never be able to come after me or my family. First, I personally reached out to the victims' legal teams. The real reason he's not getting out is those buried cases behind the scenes. I provided legal funding for 7 victims who had been silent for years and brought in the top criminal attorneys in the country. Second, I bought up every potential post-release business deal he had lined up. I planned this 2 years in advance, so by the time he got sentenced and still had hope of getting out, every partner had already cut ties with him. Third, I don't just have evidence, I've got backups. This is an entire minefield that's been buried for 20 years. I uncovered every secret from the last 30 years. With testimonies from the victims, we interviewed over a dozen people he tricked, threatened, or violated. You think that's harsh? No, he destroyed other people's lives for decades. I'm just making sure he spends a few extra years in prison for it. I'm not afraid of his people, not afraid of his threats. I know he's still in there fantasizing about a comeback, but the truth is, he's never coming back.
You really hate Sean Combs.
Why would you be thinking that?
Because of the things that you post on Instagram, because of the...
Look at this, and let's stop for a second and do say that I hated him enough to hire his kids, and we've never done anything to each other. So it's just competitive energy and things that you say about other artists while you're in hip-hop culture.
I ain't never made a call to Diddy. I got Diddy's number, just hit him up. Yo, Diddy, what up? Never happened.
He told me to take me shopping. I looked at him like, what you just said?
Ooh, this is a tight one. And the winner is Eminem, the Eminem Show.
Wait, he didn't just spell the word rapper and leave out a P, did he? Yep.
I kind of like Diddy.
That is interesting though, because to a lot of people, 50 is the villain, but I look at 50 as more of an anti-hero. As a person who loves comics, he's more of an anti-hero than a villain.
So you have something huge coming up, which is a documentary about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually.
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now. And then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy. I mean,
but I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated.
Guys, this is nuts. Sean Diddy Combs was still filming himself a week before he got arrested, months after the feds had already raided and taken all his tapes. And somehow that footage got to 50 Cent, who's now put it in his Netflix documentary.
I was a party favor.
What does that mean?
I was a party favor. I was somebody you could take off the table.
So you're telling me they set children?
I set children on a table.
Like when you go to a birthday party and they have gift bags for everybody that comes that have candy and toys in them, yep. And they set them on the table. So you're telling me at the freak off parties, mm-hmm. They put children on the table instead of gift bags, mm-hmm. And then people can do what?
Take you off the table and have to, even though it's against the rules to do certain things like their full health. Sometimes that's against the rules. Like for me, that was against the rules with that in mind.
After years of hype and even louder hopes from certain people that it would never be released, Sean Combs, The Reckoning, has finally premiered, and it's already shaking the internet. Executive produced by Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, the documentary pulls together decades of interviews, public records, and insider accounts to expose a version of Diddy that mainstream media rarely touches. And the timing couldn't be more explosive, because Diddy is already under intense public pressure, facing multiple civil lawsuits and an ongoing federal criminal investigation. While he continues to deny every allegation, the documentary has reignited a firestorm, not just because of what's being claimed, but because so many voices who stayed silent for years are now speaking directly on camera. One section in particular has become the most talked about and disturbing, with former insiders describing young women allegedly being manipulated, pressured, or trapped in situations they never should have been in. These are still allegations, not confirmed facts, and the film makes it clear investigations are ongoing, but the testimonies are so intense that audiences are leaving stunned. And if that wasn't enough, The release has also escalated the long-running tension between 50 Cent and Diddy, with Diddy accusing the documentary of being a targeted attempt to destroy his reputation, while Netflix claims everything was handled legally, and 50 Cent insists he's only trying to bring the truth into the light.
Speaking about Diddy like they did. Netflix and 50 Cent just pulled the curtain back on one of the most disgusting and powerful men in entertainment, Diddy. And what they reveal is darker than anything I think any of us imagine. Secret hotel room footage, a $200 million money move, new witnesses, and allegations that will change how you think of Diddy forever. This is The Reckoning on Netflix. We're talking about it today. Welcome, everybody. I'm Tom Zenner. This is Tom Zenner Scandal. You're watching 1 Degree of Scandalous. I'm the co-host along with the one and only Kato, K-Train, Kaylin. Kayla, I want to get into this right away. You and I both watched this thing, as did millions and millions and millions of people. I got to tell you, I couldn't wait for it to end. It made me sick. It disgusted me. You know, usually a Netflix doc is so captivating, and this was so well done. Kudos to 50 Cent. You are a hero in my mind, 50 Cent. You really are. We're going to get into this, but I couldn't wait for it to end. I just had a sick feeling about me that this guy, Diddy, got away with this crap for 35 years, and we're going to get into all of the new revelations today and talk about potential implications. But how did you feel watching this thing?
Well, I'll tell you what, Tom, I had no interest in Diddy at all. I had nothing. It was like another Diddy story. As soon as I watched the opening scene of him in the hotel room talking, I was captivated. I feel like it was 50 Cent was like on SEAL Team 6. He went in, he got the footage from this videographer, and it was so compelling. It is, like you said, it is so well done. And all 4 episodes, you're on the edge of your seat. I watched it in one sitting, which I rarely do. And well, I'm telling you, my opinion completely is different of Diddy. I thought, this guy's probably, okay. I met him one time or maybe twice at the Playboy Mansion. I would not want to have any association with this person at all. The way that he used, which we're going to get into, how he used his friends. It's just like everything you're taught when you grow up of being a good person. He did the opposite.
Yeah. Everybody he touched, he destroyed. If you came into Diddy's periphery and his life, your life is over as you know it. You were facing violence, potential death, extortion, entrapment. This guy, and you know what? The doc did a good job of showing how he evolved, right? And his background, which doesn't excuse anything. But I learned a lot from this that we're going to get into. And I guess, Kato, before we get into like the top 10 things that we're going to reveal from this, and by the way, you don't have to be a hip hop or rap band. This is a crime. This is true crime at the core. And we're dealing with a true monster, all right? Ryan Murphy might have his next one right here, Monster Diddy. But Kato, do you think they have Netflix available in prison? Because I wonder if, what the reaction with his prison mates are going to be when they see this.
That's a great question. I think that any visitor coming in is probably telling him, if he hasn't seen it, and this is probably their last visit to see him, saying, you are a POS, a piece of. And like I said, it is this deals with, Tom, not only just extortion of money, never paying thing.
The documentary dropped during the week of December 2nd, 2025, unfolding across 4 nearly hour-long episodes, and it didn't take long before it completely took over the internet. Directed by Alex Stapleton and executive produced by 50 Cent, the series instantly became a cultural flashpoint, especially once Netflix stepped in to defend it, claiming every piece of footage had been legally cleared. But Diddy and his legal team fired back hard, calling the project biased, unfair, and built on footage they say was used without permission. Their attorneys even sent Netflix a formal letter, accusing the documentary of pushing a misleading narrative. And instead of killing the momentum, that controversy made the series even bigger. The first episode hits like a punch, opening on a chilling scene filmed just 6 days before Diddy's 2024 arrest, where he's seen inside a hotel room speaking with his lawyer, looking shaken and saying he's fighting for his life. Diddy's camp insists that moment was captured illegally, while the filmmakers maintain it was obtained lawfully after his arrest. But either way, that one clip alone triggered massive backlash. And then the story only gets darker. As the episodes unfold, former staff, security, Collaborators and insiders from Diddy's inner circle step forward, describing a world fueled by power, privilege, and fear. But the question haunting every episode isn't just what happened. It's this: how did so many people stay silent for so long?
You have something huge coming up, which is a documentary about P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, P. Diddy.
Yeah.
Did he do it, right?
Yeah.
I know you've been heavy on social media talking about it.
He did it. And I'm the only one who's been vocal about this long before it actually.
Oh, you've been saying this for a long time now. And then no one was, they're just, why is he saying this? And now it's coming out like crazy. I mean,
but I also didn't participate. I also didn't go to those parties.
Yeah.
So a lot of the celebrity culture that you don't hear saying anything is because they participated to a degree.
But was there a reason you never went to those parties back in the day? Obviously, I know what's going on there, but is there a reason you never did?
I'm just not with all that freaky. All of the stuff that he's doing, I'm not into that type of stuff. I'm just a little more, maybe you could say basic or normal. You go to the 90s and Keefe D said he paid him to kill Tupac.
Yeah.
So like, you get the craziest accusations. You had TMZ created a docuseries that went to Tubi, but the series is saying the downfall of Diddy.
You're one of the first persons in entertainment to really call out people and kind of have that authority in that, to be able to call people out. I mean, which is pretty amazing. You're kind of, in some ways, draining the swamp of Hollywood. And
I don't have a support system. I don't have a support system of a peer group of artists that I require to do what I'm doing. I've had to be on my own from the beginning. So I don't necessarily have a responsibility to behave a certain way according to them, and look, if I didn't have an award-winning director doing it, if I hadn't put the right people in place to produce it properly, I would understand why they would question or doubt anything.
50 Cent wasn't the only force behind this documentary, but his name is the one that keeps stealing the spotlight. For years, he's made it clear he wanted to expose what he believes the industry has ignored, protected, or quietly brushed under the rug. And when Diddy reportedly turned down the chance to shape a documentary on his own terms, Netflix didn't back off. They turned to 50 Cent's team instead. That decision instantly split the public. Critics say his involvement was personal and driven by rivalry, while supporters argue he was exactly the kind of fearless outsider this story needed. But one thing is undeniable: his presence changed everything. Multiple participants claim that once 50 Cent came on board, they finally felt safe enough to speak. Many had been carrying their stories for years, but no major platform took them seriously or wanted the risk. Then suddenly there was funding, global visibility, and a powerful name attached to the project. And with that came something even bigger than production support: the confidence for people to finally step forward and tell their truth.
A new Netflix docuseries about Sean Diddy Combs is making headlines for its never-before-seen footage of the music mogul in the days before his arrest. Now, Combs is threatening legal action against the streamer for airing the unauthorized footage. Behind the series is Combs' longtime rap rival 50 Cent and director Alexandria Stapleton, who sat down with NBC News' Chloe Malas ahead of tonight's release.
Tonight, Netflix releasing never-before-seen video of Sean Diddy Combs filmed just days before his arrest on charges of trafficking and racketeering in 2024. The footage is part of a 4-part docuseries, Sean Combs: The Reckoning, premiering Tuesday. Behind the explosive documentary is Combs' longtime rival, Curtis 50 Cent Jackson, and director Alexandria Stapleton.
How did you get that footage of Diddy?
I figure most journalists would not disclose their sources.
The recordings give viewers an intimate look at Combs' mindset ahead of his criminal trial, even conversations with his legal team.
Does he know y'all have this in the doc?
I would doubt he knows.
So when this airs, that'll be the first time that his legal team, Diddy, that everybody knows that this footage is now seeing the light of day. Perhaps. What was he intending to use it for?
I have no idea.
I mean, you're talking about a man who films himself doing everything and has for decades. I think he wanted someone to be behind the the scenes with him.
Combs' team firing back in a statement to NBC News today, saying the Netflix so-called documentary is a shameful hit piece and that they relied on stolen footage that was never authorized for release. His team sending a cease and desist to Netflix. Netflix referring NBC News to a statement from Stapleton in which she said they lawfully obtained the footage. After a nearly 8-week trial, Combs was acquitted of the more serious charges of trafficking and racketeering and sentenced to 50 months in federal prison for 2 counts of transportation to engage in. Combs' team going on to slam Netflix for partnering with 50 Cent, who they say has been his longtime public adversary, something the Grammy winner denied, citing his own casting choices in his popular Stars franchise, Power.
One could watch this and think that you really hate Sean Combs.
Why would they be thinking that?
Because of the things that you post on Instagram, because of the...
Look at this. And let's stop for a second and do say that I hated him enough to hire his kids. And we've never done anything to each other. So it's just competitive energy and things that you say about other artists while you're in hip-hop culture.
This documentary is one of several that has chronicled Combs' rise and fall, but Stapleton says theirs is different.
Yeah, there's a lot of new information. No one had ever really put it together like that before.
For 50 Cent, he says he feels a sense of obligation.
Well, if I didn't say anything, you could assume that all of hip-hop culture is comfortable with his actions.
And Chloe Malas joins us now in studio. Chloe, you've seen the whole documentary. What else can you tell us about it?
So there's a lot more of this never before seen footage, Tom, of Combs having really private conversations with his legal team. And you really get a sense of his mindset ahead of his criminal trial, which is really fascinating for me because he never did any sit-down interviews ahead of the trial. So you finally get to see what his strategy was and how worried he was. But clearly, perhaps he didn't think that he was going to go to prison because he's filming this documentary. You're also going to hear from Aubrey O'Day. She was in the girl band Danity Kane as part of making the band. She has an explosive allegation against Combs. And then there's quite a bit that focuses on the of Biggie and Tupac and people from Combs' inner circle raising a lot of questions. People are going to also have a lot to say.
In the documentary, 50 Cent only appears for a few brief moments on screen, but his presence is stamped across the entire series. Behind the scenes, his influence is everywhere. He helped unlock key interviews, brought in resources, and gave the director the power to dig into parts of Diddy's world that had never been shown on camera before. But one of the most gut-punching moments hits in episode 3, when multiple testimonies describe young women who were allegedly manipulated through promises of career boosts, luxury travel, and financial support. Their identities remain protected, but the emotion in their voices makes the stories impossible to ignore. Some say they were invited to exclusive events, only to realize later they couldn't leave. Others describe feeling pressured to comply because their careers and reputations were hanging by a thread. A few even claim they witnessed other girls who looked disturbingly young. And that's when the documentary stops feeling like tea and starts feeling like something darker. It forces one chilling question. Did they ever truly have a choice? For many viewers, this is the exact point where the series shifts from shocking to heartbreaking. After the release, Diddy's legal team responded fast, blasting the documentary as unfair, one-sided, and designed to destroy his name, especially given his long-running feud with 50 Cent. They accused Netflix of ignoring warnings and pushing forward anyway. Netflix fired back, insisting every piece of footage was legally cleared and denying that anyone was paid to smear Diddy. But while both sides held their ground publicly, the real war exploded online, where debates, reactions, and outrage spread across social media and still haven't cooled down.
3 or 4 pictures in the documentary that I've seen of myself. You know, some people say they saw more, but I know three different times where I was certain places that you could actually see me in the documentary, and that's the only thing you're going to get. But the stories that they told in the documentary, bruh, come on. They could have went a whole lot deeper. They could have did a whole lot more. So I ain't in the documentary because that lady that was the director, I think, what's her name? Alex, you know, Alex State, you know her name, Mighty? Yo, Mighty, just give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna look this up, all right? Okay. Her name is Alex Stapleton. The director that I spoke to was Alex Stapleton. She was the one who told me that she was the director, she was the producer, whatever, this, that, and the third, the whole 9 yards. And she was talking mad greasy to me. And listen here, it's no matter, after you talk that kind of talk to me, it's no amount of money she could have paid me anyway for me to get in there. You know, my story is more too valuable, you know, getting in the depth or getting in depth with this whole stuff, and it would have helped that documentary a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? In actually, they used all the stuff that I told them and did it the way that I was saying do it. Tim Dog started off with the childhood with Puff and the whole 9 yards. Kirk Burrows do the business part, but they was trying to put people in there like Mark Curry and other people to talk about the streets or what was going on, you know, a certain thing. But Mark can only say so much, you know what I'm saying, because he was an artist, you know, so he wasn't with Puff like I was with him during that time when we was running back and forth here and there and the whole 9 yards. So, you know, Miss Alex Stapleton is the one reason why I'm not in the documentary, but it's all right with me. I've been in a lot of documentaries. I did The Shine, I did the A&E, I did the Discovery Channel, I did the Fox. You know, I've been in a whole lot of different documentaries, and I'm always on the Art of Dialogue. So the people been getting most of the information from here anyway.
Yeah, man, you always on here, man. Always got to bring you on. So with that being said, man, I want to get right into the documentary, man. How you feel about the documentary, man? The behind the scenes footage they got of Diddy leading up to him getting arrested, and how you feel about all that, man?
Well, what I feel about the documentary, they left a whole lot of key things out. If they was going to do something and they're going to say in the reckoning of Sean Combs, the reckoning, or Diddy, the reckoning and stuff like that, it should have been a lot of people that we lost because of him. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't only Big, it wasn't only Tupac, you understand? For the atmosphere that he put those kids in, you got a guy named Anthony Wolf Jones, who was from Bad Boy, from its conception as doing security and being one of the financiers of Puff having to have some money to keep Big and Craig Mack around before he got
After
to Clyde.
the documentary dropped, 50 Cent wasted no time pouring gasoline on the fire, posting clips, jokes, and sharp comments online, hinting that the real truth was finally coming out. Diddy's supporters immediately accused him of exploiting the moment for attention, while Diddy, through his legal team, insisted the series was packed with false, misleading, and damaging claims. What happened next turned into one of the most intense celebrity media clashes of the decade, because this fight stopped being only about the allegations and became a war over control, reputation, and narrative. One side claimed the truth had been buried for years. The other argued the story was being deliberately twisted into a public execution. But no matter how loud the back and forth got, the public kept circling back to one central issue: the young women whose stories appear throughout the documentary. Their voices became the heartbeat of the entire conversation. The film does not reveal the full identities of any alleged underage victims, and legally, it can't without consent or verified proof. Still, it includes multiple testimonies that strongly suggest girls who were extremely young, possibly underage, were present in these environments. The documentary approaches these accounts carefully, but the details are chilling. One former employee claims many of the girls around Diddy's properties looked far too young and appeared visibly uncomfortable around older men. And once social media got involved, the debate exploded even harder. One post on X claimed the pattern felt bigger than just women, suggesting Diddy allegedly targeted women connected to powerful men around him, gaining access through proximity, then controlling situations behind closed doors. Names like Misa, Kim, Sarah, and Cassie were pulled into the conversation, and even Diddy's friendships with other major stars were suddenly viewed through a darker lens. The post framed it not as attraction, but as ego, power, and control, with the same outcome repeating every time. These are still allegations, not proven facts. But the sheer volume of similar claims and the emotional weight behind them made it clear this conversation wasn't going to disappear quietly.
Favor.
What does that mean?
He's a party favor. I was somebody you could take off the table.
So you're telling me they set children?
I set children on a table.
Like when you go to a birthday party and they have gift bags for everybody that comes that have candy and toys in them, and they set them on the table. So you're telling me at the freak off parties, they put children on the table instead of gift bags, and then people can do what?
Take you off the table and have to, even though it's against the rules to do certain things like their full health. Sometimes that's against the rules. Like for me, that was against the rules, but that didn't matter. That did not matter.
So they come choose you off the table, do whatever they want with you, and then what happens?
Then they put you back on the table.
They put you back on the table for somebody else to come choose you? Okay. That's called a party favor effect. That's just one of the little things that go on at the freak off parties with children. Were there animals there?
Goats.
Did they turn the animals loose on the kids?
Yeah.
And if you got sick and threw up because it was so disgusting, what happened?
You had to eat it.
You had to eat your vomit if you threw up. That's satanic ritual. Diddy was at this party? Denzel Washington was at this party?
Yep.
Birdman was at this party?
Yes, he was.
And Young Jock?
Yep.
And you're telling me Denzel was there and it was after 1 o'clock when he supposedly left?
And beanie, socks, and a gold chain.
So you're telling me Denzel Washington was... He had a beanie on, socks on, and a gold chain, and that's it. In front of children. Funny. Because he sure portrays himself to be holier than thou.
So a lot of them do.
I think you also told me that one of those men have a birthmark.
Left thigh.
One of those men have a birthmark on their left thigh. Did you have interactions with Diddy? Denzel? And I know we don't tell on Denzel. You might not tell on Denzel, but your mama gonna tell on everybody. I ain't keeping no secrets. Denzel?
Yep.
Birdman? Did Birdman promise you things?
So much. Like what he promised Lil Wayne at a young age. Because we shared the system together. Shared birthday together too.
I know a lot of you have seen P. Diddy get guardianship.
One anonymous woman shared a story from her teenage years, saying she felt pressured to stay at an event that turned out to be nothing like what she had been promised. Another witness described seeing girls dressed in ways that made them look even younger, adding to the feeling that something about the environment was deeply unsettling and unsafe. As the documentary gained momentum, an old testimony from a singer who had spoken out years earlier in a separate project resurfaced, and suddenly her words were everywhere again, fueling even more debate. The series also revisits past lawsuits, including allegations from women who claimed they were under 18 during certain incidents. Some of those cases were later withdrawn, others remain ongoing, and many claims have never been legally proven in court. But when the documentary places all these stories side by side, a disturbing pattern begins to form. Again and again, the women describe the same emotional reality: feeling trapped, unheard, and unprotected. And for many viewers, that's the part that doesn't fade after the credits roll. The chilling sense that for some of them, it wasn't about choice at all.
I gotta be honest, I'm kind of shocked. You'd think, well, this should all be included, should it not?
Listen to me. I'm gonna get off the phone right now, and I am going to let you professionals look at the situation and come back to me with a solution. No matter what, no matter what nobody said. Let's just here and there, y'all are not working together the right way. We're losing.
The footage is
like the way he's bossing around these high-powered lawyers is so revealing.
part of a new, highly anticipated docuseries by director Alex Stapleton and rapper and executive producer.
Look at that smile. Look at that smile. Oh, he's loving this.
Jackson, titled Sean Combs: The Reckoning. Was there anything that surprised you when you were watching?
I think it was surprising that he actually filmed it.
It was very interesting to watch a man who's known for his brand presence. You know, he has a really amazing knack for marketing and all of that, and how he was sort of taking that into account and how he was coming off to the public.
We knew that was coming, by the way, because we learned that throughout as he was using his own kids to post birthday messages and etc. Like, this guy wants to control everything.
The exclusive video also shows Combs in Harlem greeting fans.
He's like, oh yeah, look at all these. This was yeah, what's up? Let me shake your hands. Yeah, let me take this. He thrives in this. This is yeah, when people recognize him, he seems what up? Like, barely anybody there. He's like, yeah, everybody's here looking at me. He's like the quarterback that can never graduate. It feels like to me.
I need some hand sanitizer. Hold on. I got. I've been out in the streets amongst the people. Yeah, I gotta take a bath.
I've been in the streets amongst people. I gotta take a bath. He's like horrified. He's disgusted by it.
Like the amount of people that actually I'm coming in contact with. Like that's what I have to do.
I have to do it. Not like, oh, that was so great, I loved it. I have to do it.
You know what I'm saying? Oh. It's like 150 hugs.
He's got to take those 150 hugs. Now, that's when she asked, like, 50 Cent, why'd you include this?
Like, I need to wash. Like, I'm dirt. That was, it shows you his character.
Is that was that the reason for including it?
Yeah. I mean, what's the odds that you would do that in front of the camera? Like, that's one of the moments where he forgot he was on tape.
I think he does that a lot, surprisingly. I think he just lives his life with cameras. He was filming his most intimate moments, allegedly, with these freak-offs, right? Revealing his true self and the most, aggressive side of himself. He didn't care.
I respond to people who say that it's more about the disdain that you have for Sean Combs than it is for giving the victims a platform.
What they consider a pre-existing beef, right? For 20 years. Right, it's me being uncomfortable with him suggesting that he takes me shopping, or I looked at it like it was like a tester, like maybe you'll come play with me, type of thing, right? And it's not personal.
I think it's important.
And she chimes in too, but I want to, just before we hear her pop, he says, what a feud. I put 2 of his kids in my scripted TV shows. I just didn't like, he said, Fruity S to me, and he said Fruity S to me. I don't like that, LOL. And so, yeah, I mean, I think that's part of it. He just said it, I think, very clearly. Look, he was testing me. Are you in? Are you in to play? Are you going to play along with me? Can I have some fun with you? I do think, clearly was it. Can you be my Paul?
One of the most shocking parts of the documentary isn't only the allegations, it's the decades of silence that surrounded them. For years, Diddy wasn't just a music mogul, he was a gatekeeper of power in entertainment, business, and influence, and people believed that speaking up could cost them everything: access, opportunities, careers, even personal safety. That kind of fear doesn't just silence one person, it silences entire circles. In The Reckoning, several insiders finally pull back the curtain on how the industry often protected itself long before it ever protected young women or vulnerable artists. One former manager describes an entertainment world built on relationships so tight that anyone who threatened the system could be erased overnight. Others admit they witnessed moments that didn't sit right, but convinced themselves it wasn't their place to step in. They were thinking about contracts, connections, and survival. Some say they stayed quiet because they assumed someone else would act, or that lawyers would step in if things truly crossed a line. But episode after episode, the documentary pushes one chilling idea. Maybe the most powerful force wasn't money, fame, or influence at all. It was the silence that allowed everything to continue.
By this point, Diddy and 50 Cent have had a long-standing beef, and 50 Cent was trolling Diddy throughout the entire trial. Those AI memes on his Instagram were crazy work, but this doc also has something else. It has never before seen footage of Diddy right up to the point he was arrested, and we also hear from two of the jurors. In July, just a reminder, Diddy was convicted on 2 charges of transportation to engage in but found not guilty of the more serious charges, that's racketeering with conspiracy and trafficking. He is now serving a 50-month prison sentence and has said he will appeal. In a cease and desist letter sent on Monday, lawyers for Mr. Combs demanded that Netflix withdraw the series, contending the footage had been illicitly provided to the streaming service in violation of contractual agreements. The letter asserted that running the footage would be a copyright violation and that it likely contained privileged communications between Mr. Combs and his legal counsel. Netflix say the footage was legally obtained. Just a warning, this episode contains strong language and content some listeners might find upsetting. If you have been a victim of or you want some support, details of help and support are available at bbc.co.uk/action line. Today, I'm very happy to say that we have Cheyenne Roundtree, Rolling Stone's senior investigative reporter, joining us once again. Welcome back, Cheyenne.
Hi, good to see you.
It's lovely to have you back. We've had the end of a trial. You got married. There's been a lot going on, but here we are. Something that 50 Cent promised, he's delivered upon. It is a long documentary, 4 hours, 4 parts. The wildest thing to me is the footage of Diddy just days before his arrest, talking to his lawyer, Mark Agnifilo. Listeners will know Mark Agnifilo was lead counsel, and he led the closing arguments, which finished 2 rounds of applause at the trial. In the footage, Diddy's making plans, calling people involved in the case, cases against him, civil cases and the federal case. It really is extremely intimate. Cheyenne, tell us some of the stuff that we see.
Where to begin? I think what you kind of take away from this is just like how Diddy's mind works a little bit. You see him strategizing with his attorneys about social media reach and thinking already ahead of before he's even arrested how to reach potential jurors. And he's telling his team, like, don't just be going.
Diddy continues to deny every allegation, and his legal team insists every encounter was consensual, claiming he has never harmed anyone and that this documentary is unfair, misleading, and designed to distort the truth. Netflix, however, is standing firm, saying every piece of content was legally cleared, while 50 Cent keeps pushing the message that the truth is finally being exposed. But at the end of the day, the biggest questions aren't about celebrity feuds or public image. They're about the young women who say they felt cornered, misled, or manipulated. And if even part of what they described is accurate, it raises a disturbing question about the kind of world they were pulled into and how long it was allowed to exist unchecked. Now that this documentary is out and these testimonies are public, one question still hangs in the air. What happens when the next wave of witnesses decides to speak? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe so you never miss an update. And until next time, stay sharp and stay aware.